Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. I'm really excited to go through it with you because I feel like it can make a really big difference to, your health and to you reaching your goals. So today's lesson is on understanding food labels. So we're going to jump straight in. So what do you need to know? Well, first of all, if you don't get the stuff right, so if you keep on going doing what you're doing, you're most likely just using ignorance as bliss sort of mentality, not looking at labels and just hoping what you pick off the shelves is healthy. Most of the food tells you it's healthy, but what actually is in it? Most of these labels they can be quite confusing, and it can be quite hard to understand them if you haven't learnt about this stuff before. So if you keep doing this, you're basically just shooting yourself in the foot, and you're not going to reach those goals. No matter how much knowledge you have, if you're not applying it and not stocking the right foods by buying the right things, then you're not going to be eating healthy and you're not going to be eating aligned with your goals. If you do get this stuff right, it's the complete opposite. Imagine if you can confidently do your shopping and know exactly what you're putting in your body. All of a sudden, you're the one in the driver's seat. You're the one making the decisions. It's not the big corporations that are, selling the stuff to you. So, if you do get this right, you're stocking the right foods, and therefore you're going to be eating the right foods. It's that simple, okay? But it's a really big step. So my goal for today is to basically just go through some examples of food labels and highlight what to look for so you have the power to take your health into your own hands. It's not a big presentation, but it is an important one. So first of all, we're going to look at, this is a pasta sauce, okay? So there's a couple of things that I suggest you look at on a food label. The starting point for myself when I look at food labels is the ingredient list. So you can see here, this arrow, this big arrow on the right, is coming up from the ingredient list. So things you need to know about the ingredient list is that foods are listed in basically the ratio of what they make up, of what they, what the ingredients, or sorry, of what the product is. So if the first ingredients are the ones that mostly make up the product, and then down the bottom are the ones where there's not so much of. So you obviously want to look for healthy things at the beginning of the ingredients, and if there's unhealthy things, you want them to be towards the end of the ingredients. You also want to look at how many ingredients there are. So most of the time, the less ingredients, the better it is, the less processed it is. Okay, so the less handling it has, the more the food is as nature intended. You also want to look at the quality of the ingredients. So are the ingredients organic? They'll say if they're organic. And look for ingredient names that you don't understand. So if there's things that you have no idea what they are, then most likely they're not real. It's not real food, and it's not good for you. So here in this example, okay, it's a pasta sauce. So hopefully we would see some sort of tomatoes first, and that's what we have. So we've got organic tomato puree. Okay, so like crushed up tomatoes basically. Organic tomatoes, salt, okay, organic onions, organic soybean oil. Soybean oil probably isn't great. Organic sugar, okay, who would have known there's sugar in pasta sauce? Organic Parmesan cheese, okay, organic milk, which is made up of organic milk, salt, powdered cellulose, some enzymes. So there's a fair few ingredients in here: garlic powder, basil, garlic, oregano. There's a fair few ingredients. Most of them are organic, which is a good start in terms of quality. There is sugar and there is soybean oil, which isn't a really healthy oil. So there are some things to take note of in the ingredients. From there, what I normally look for is the macronutrient list over here, next one to the left. So you can see there's fat, carbohydrate, and protein. They're your three macronutrients. So I normally have a little bit of a look at the percentages and the grams of each of these. Okay, and this is, you can see, this is actually taken per serve. So these quantities are taken per serve. Okay, it's very also useful to know what a serve is. Okay, is it a teaspoon? Is it a cup? You can see for this pasta sauce, if you read up near the top here, just here, a serving size is half a cup. So in half a cup, we've got 1 gram of fat, 480 milligrams of sodium, which you can see is 20% of your daily intake. That's quite high. You've only got 8 grams of carbohydrate, 2 grams of sugar. So there's not a whole lot in there. Oh, sorry, 2 grams of protein. So there's not a whole lot in there. But what we can look at from there is a couple of things. So we want to look at how much actual sugar. So we saw sugar was in the ingredients. And you can see down here, under carbohydrate, under total carbohydrate, just here, is sugars. So sugars will always sit under total carbohydrates because it is a form of carbohydrate. So you can see it's 4 grams. That's 1 teaspoon. So in 1 serve of pasta sauce, you're getting 1 teaspoon of sugar. This is, you wouldn't expect there to be sugar in pasta sauce, but this is actually one of the lower ones that I've seen for that serving size. So please be aware of how much sugar is in per serve. Remember, 4 grams is about 1 teaspoon. The other thing to look for in the macronutrients is trans fat. So you don't want there to be any trans fat. Here there's not. Okay, that's good. Sodium is also relevant. 480 milligrams probably doesn't really mean much to you. That's, I think, about 1/10 of a teaspoon. But you can see what is relevant is the percentage of what the government recommends that you should be getting daily. So it's 20% of your daily intake on that pasta sauce. The one other thing to look for, that I like to look for on a food label, is the energy content, which is far left over here. Okay, so the energy content is measured in calories, or it's also measured in kilojoules. So calories, 45. Government recommends normally for a regular adult around about 2,000 calories per day, just to give you an idea of what 45 calories mean. So the energy content isn't real high, okay, which is most of the time a good thing. But remember, the energy content doesn't matter so much if it's all really good food. But anything processed like this with a label on it, it's probably worth having a look at the calories. So they're the main things that we want to look for on this pasta. Okay, so just to recap, we're looking at the ingredients and where the ingredients sit. So if, for example, the organic sugar here was the second ingredient after the organic tomato puree and before the organic tomatoes, then you'd probably look straight over here in the macronutrient list and look at the actual sugar intake per serve. And I can guarantee it would be higher than 4 grams per serve if it was a second ingredient. So that's a way to just sort of look across the ingredients and the macronutrient list. The other things to look for is the percentage of your daily value. That can give you a bit of an indication on how much it is. The serving size, okay, to know if you regularly eat more than the serving size. So for example, some some foods you might eat 2 or 3 times the serving size, and therefore the sugar content, for example, isn't relevant. You might need to double or triple that sugar content to know actually how much you're going to be eating at a sitting. And last but not least, the energy content is calories. Okay, how many calories are you getting per serve? Kilojoules, by the way, 1 calorie equals about 4 kilojoules, just to give you an idea of the cross-reference between the two. So the next example that we're going to look at is, what do we have? Orange juice. Okay, so orange juice this one says it's 100% juice. So, that's sort of telling us, or wanting to tell people anyway, that the juice is healthy. So what we want to look at is exactly the same things. Okay, we want to look at, first of all, the ingredients. You can see the ingredients down here. So we don't have many ingredients. We've got pasteurized organic orange juice. Pasteurized means it's basically been heated to make it last longer. Okay. In this heating process, though, the heating process of pasteurization kills off a lot of the good stuff. We've got tricalcium citrate. I don't even know what that is, so that's not a good thing. And vitamin D3. So they've added some vitamin D3. So there's 3 ingredients, which isn't massive. Okay, so that's sort of a good thing. There is an ingredient there that I'm not sure of, tricalcium citrate. So I'd probably want to look that up and know what that's about. From there we can look at, okay, so it says there's no added sugar here in the ingredients. So that's a good tick. From there we want to look at the macronutrient table, which is this thing, the nutrition facts. So you can see fat, carbohydrate, protein. So the most important thing when we're trying to be healthy and when we're trying to lose fat and get shredded is to make sure the carbohydrate level, especially the added sugar, or the sugar level, is low. Okay, it doesn't matter so much about the fat, unless it's sort of trans fats, but the main thing is the sugar level. So you can see the fat, 0 grams, so there's no fat in a serving. Potassium, sodium, carbohydrate, and once again, total carbohydrate 26 grams, of which sugars make up 22 grams. Okay, so there's 22 grams of sugar in this 1 serve of drink. So this 22 grams comes from the oranges. It's not added sugar because there's no added sugar in the ingredients, but it still has the same effect on our bodies. So if we're trying to lose weight, if we're trying to keep our gut healthy, which is what we want to do to stay healthy, then 22 grams of sugar is not ideal. Okay, that's 4 grams is 1 teaspoon, so that's 16. That's 5.5 teaspoons of sugar in 1 serve of drink. So it's like having a cup of water and putting in 5 teaspoons of sugar. It's the same effect on your body. Okay, so now let's have a look at the serving size. The serving size up here, 240 mils. So that's one small cup. So if you regularly have one big cup, that might be a 400 ml or 350 ml cup. That means all of a sudden you're not only getting 22 grams of sugar, but you might be getting, 36 grams of sugar, okay, which is massive. So it's really going to spike your insulin, and at the end of the day, you're basically going to be holding on to more fat. So we really want to be aware of sugary drinks, okay? Even if it's advertised as 100% juice, it still has the same effect on your body. You can see over here on the left, after serving size, I look at the sugar and fat content, which we sort of already did in the macronutrient list. And then last but not least, how much energy, how many calories are we getting from this drink? Okay, we're getting 110 calories. And that basically comes from just our carbohydrate. 1 gram of carbohydrate has roughly 4 calories. So for a drink that has 26 grams, we're getting, over 100 calories already just from the carbohydrate, which is mostly made up of sugar. So that is once again looking at another product. So we went through exactly the same process as what we did with pasta sauce. We found they both had added sugar, which is very, very common for anything that's processed. Remember, 80% of supermarket food has added sugar in it. 80%. So what now? So now we've gone through how to, look and read labels. You need to take this and apply it. There's no point in learning this stuff if you're not going to apply it. So next time you go shopping, I want you to start looking at the labels that you pick up. Hopefully there's not many labels. Hopefully you're staying to the outside of the supermarket aisles and getting your fruit and veggies and quality meat if that's where you're doing your shopping. But when you do need to go into the aisles, make sure you look at those labels. Okay, look at the ingredient list. If there's things you don't understand, don't get it. If the sugar is high on the ingredient list, don't get it. Look at the macronutrient table. Check out how much sugar is in the carbohydrate. Okay, if it's a large amount, then ditch it. Ideally, we want to be cutting out all sugar. That's really ideal in terms of fat loss and health. Not always possible, but if you're aware of it, you're in the driver's seat and you're making the decisions, not the big corporations dictating how your health should be. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've learned something, and I really look forward to seeing you start implementing this stuff and start making a difference in your life. Boom.